to be, whether you're live streaming or you're here with us in person. Happy Mother's Day, and we're going to sing about how everyone's welcome here.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be.
In the right place.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be.
Oh, my soul.
Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting a message here. My soul is welcome here.
Good morning to those live streaming. You're in the right place at the right time.
Soul is welcome here.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be.
Oh, my soul.
Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome.
Oh, my soul is welcome.
Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome
I'm getting the
here.
message.
I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. 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 My soul is welcome. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
All righty then. This exuberance is in the air.
We're fairly sizzling with zeal and effervescence.
Yes, to do what we're here to do, which is have a wonderful service.
And we have visitors from near and far today. Our beautiful brother, Reverend Tony Jackson, is in the house with his beautiful bride, Christina. And I see so many familiar faces from near and far. And so this morning we want to welcome all of you to this beautiful spiritual community, this deeply mission-centric community called Spiritual Life Center. And so we know if you are here for the first time, you are not here by accident. You are here by
Divine appointment.
And on this morning, we know that all divine appointments can happen anywhere on our planet. We join together with our brothers and sisters who are worshiping all over the world in simple stone circles, in synagogues, mosques, temples, and churches, because there is no separation. The only separation we would love to have this morning is anything that rings. So if you could shut those devices down, and we know that if God is calling you, truly he will leave a message. Or you'll get it through another channel.
Yes, it may be just a direct message, no phone needed.
No phone needed.
Yes.
Oh, and I want to thank one of our earlier congregants, Buff, who brought in these wonderful artichokes, and I can say it is the first ever vegetable altar in the SLC's history.
Oh, it's all good because it's all God.
Absolutely.
Well, let's connect with that presence in prayer for a moment and remember, reconnect, and realize our oneness with this presence. A presence that can never leave us or forsake us. It is here even when we think it's not. And as we remain open and receptive to receive it We will receive the guidance we need to receive at any moment in our life. We'll hear with spiritual ears. We'll speak from the consciousness of the Spirit of the living God that dwells within us. And so we're grateful to be His vessel, His vehicle. We're grateful to be under His guidance and governance. And as we are, then we realize more and more the truth of who and what we are, and it shows up everywhere that we go. Our true nature and being as expressions of peace and love and joy and wisdom, vitality and vigor, wholeness, and all that's good and perfect. And as we express this, not only are we lifted up to the truth of who we are, then everyone that crosses our path recognizes that same thing within them. And we all are lifted up a little higher. So today is good and very good because we are always expressions of the presence, no matter what we're going through or growing through. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. You know, as we've been saying every week, just to remind folks of the basic principles of unity, we've been reciting the 5 basic ideas and principles that we live by. Just in case someone asks you at 3 o'clock in the morning, what does unity stand for? You can say it in a minute. So with that, let us say our basic principles of unity together. God is absolute good and everywhere present. People are inherently good. Thoughts create our experiences. Prayer and meditation is how we connect with God. We must take action.
And speaking of action, we're going to take action this coming Wednesday for our WOW program, and it will feature Reverend Dr. Gail Darren and Gail Vinson, otherwise known as the 2 Gails, in a beautiful program of spoken word and music with Anne and Paula, and it is the Undefended Heart. So join us for Salad at 6 and the program at 7.
And of course, we're going to have a few words from Paula to talk about Ricky Byers and Matt Venuti programs coming up.
Yes. So Ricky Byers is a very well-known, popular singer-songwriter who co-founded the Agape ministry in Southern California with Reverend Michael Beckwith. And she is going to be in town and presenting a concert at the Unity of Sacramento on Folsom Boulevard, and Spiritual Life Center Choir is going to join together with Expressions of Unity Choir, and we're going to back her up in some of her beautiful songs, and it's going to be a wonderful evening, and you can get tickets for this online on our website or in the courtyard. When you buy tickets through us, we will receive 25% of those ticket sales. So this is happening this Friday, May 17th at 8 o'clock. So we hope to see you there. And then Matt Venuti is coming. Now this is going to be our 5th Wednesday, our 5th WOW Wednesday on May 29th. Is anybody in the room, did anybody see him the last time he was here in 2017? Yes. The music that we've been playing, prelude music when you come in, that is Matt Venuti's music. It's beautiful, melodic, hypnotic music similar to steel drum sound. And it's just beautiful music, and he's a singer and songwriter, and he will be here with us May 29th, and the salad happens at 6 as usual, and the program at 7. So come along to that too, and that will be presented on a love offering basis.
And it's a very healing vibe.
Very healing.
Definitely healing.
And speaking of other activities of healing, just to remind you that Teresa Campos will be here on Sunday, May the 26th, as our guest speaker, and we'll talk on the new era of healing. And you can also register for her 3-week class that's going to start on June the 3rd. And then we have a video from Teresa to say a few words about what's coming up.
Hello, I want to invite you to a class that I'm going to be presenting at the Spiritual Life Center here in Sacramento in June. It is part of their Legacy Living series, and what I love about the combination of these 2 words that they have put together is that I think it's brilliant. Number one is that typically when we think about legacy, we think about what it is that we're leaving behind. But the combination of the word living is about the legacy that you want to be living right now. So the name of this workshop is called Redesigning Your Life. And in this workshop, you're going to get clear because you're going to clarify the vision for the life you want to be living right now. You're going to look at the changes that need to be made and make those paradigm shifts. You are also going to have the opportunity to have your personal astrology integrated into this workshop so you can align with your own unique life design. We're going to have some fun with archetypes. This is going to be a powerful class. You'll end this class by having some tools that can help you execute your development further in this area. So please join me. This is going to be a series of 3 classes in this workshop. And beginning on June the 3rd, and then proceeding June 10th and June 17th, on Mondays from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. here at the Spiritual Life Center in Sacramento. The cost for all 3 of these classes is $45. This is an opportunity that you don't want to miss. So please join me. I'd love to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.
And it is an opportunity. How did anyone here take her last class that she offered? She is a powerful teacher. She's a very engaging teacher, and I promise you, you will love the program.
And speaking of loving...
And speaking of loving things,
yes.
So how do we love our jewels? And how did we love to donate what no longer was serving us in our jewelry boxes? From fabulous, fine to funky, we've got jewelry of every style out in the courtyard. This is the last Sunday for the Youth Ed jewelry sale. Be sure to check it out so that you can repopulate your own jewelry box in unique expressions of your beauty.
Yes, keep the circulation going.
You should go look too.
Yes, I will. I will. I might find me a
For
nice
everyone.
pair of earrings or something.
Absolutely. Or bracelets. Yeah, it could happen. It could happen. It's not just his socks, you know.
Yes. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. You
So
want to do that
now
part?
we do.
Ambassadors?
We have
Okay.
ambassadors and prayer chaplains in our board. Would you please stand? Those ambassadors, they wear the rainbow ribbon, and that is a signpost. They are here to warmly welcome you and answer your questions about how to connect here at Spiritual Life Center. Our prayer chaplains wear that white stole, and they are here in sacred prayer service to this community. What a beautiful service. And they are here to hold you whether you are praying for a celebration or a life challenge. Thank you, chaplains. They'll be in the back of the sanctuary or at the chaplain table in the breezeway. And our board of trustees is here. And what a beautiful amount of service that they offer to this community in steering the ship of this spiritual community. Thank you, board.
Thank you all so much. And if you're here for the very first time, we're going to ask you to raise your hand in a few moments. But for now, we really just want to let you know about the opportunities that you have to get connected here at Spiritual Life Center. And when we hand out a welcome card, if you'd like, you can fill that out, drop it into the offertory basket at the end of the service, or bring it to the welcome table in the courtyard, and you'll get that special Spiritual Life Center welcome. So if anyone here for the very first time, any first-timers here today? Oh, keep your eye right in the back, keep your hand up nice and high. And we're going to give you a purple ribbon, and we ask you to wear that ribbon on your left shoulder so it'll be near your heart, so we can greet you especially and offer you that heartfelt and warm Spiritual Life Center welcome. So we thank you for your presence and bringing your energy and your divineness here with us. And we just have an opportunity to not only greet our newcomers, but with each other, and just say, you look and you are marvelous. Glad you are here.
You to stay standing And join us in singing our group song, I'm Here to Remind You. Please join us in singing.
I'm here to remind you of your magnificence, to help you awake to all the wonders that you are. I long to show you all the joy you're worthy of. I'm here to remind you how much you're truly loved. I'm here to remind you of your magnificence, to help you awake to all the wonder that you are. I long to show you all the joy you're worthy of. I'm here to remind you how much you're truly loved. I'm here to remind you of your magnificence, to help you awake to all the wonder that you are. I long to show you all the joy you're worthy of. I'm here to remind you how much you're truly loved. I'm here to remind you how much you're truly loved. I'm here to remind you how much you're truly loved.
Now, what we are going to do is read together our cue cards, our shadow sides, and our magnificent side as we continue our work with learning to love with no one and nothing against us. So let's do that together. Please have compassion for us when we are being not enough, distrusting, grieving, blaming, powerless, and fearful, because this is who we have come here to be, inspired, in integrity, joy-filled, compassionate, unstoppable, generous, and transformational. And now let's unfold all of those beautiful qualities of shadow and light into our vision statement. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions, weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom. We cultivate a spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet.
And now, in preparation for meditation, we invite you to sing our meditation chant, There Is Only One of Us. Together.
There is only one of us. In your eyes it's me I see. There is only one of us. You are my reflection. There is only
Let us take these few moments together with the magic of love and the sound from this beautiful chant. And let us move from a focus of our mind and our thoughts into a restful, peaceful presence and a soft heart focus as we embody the truth of the statement, there is only one of us. So as you're settled into your chair, gently close your eyes if that serves you. In my eyes, it's you I see. Dropping your shoulders and going even deeper into a place of peace. Allow any tension to just drop away, moving into the sense of complete peace and surrender. And we hold in our hearts a soft focus of those in our human family, our friends and other relations that have brought to each of us feelings that are nurturing and that we can see reflected all across our planet. If we were not nurtured by our own mother, we can be nurtured in places of great beauty, in the sweet and loving presence of our pets, and any other family that's not of origin. We allow our hearts to feel this mother nurture in a very safe and a very tender place. And we will take a brief look at how Mother's Day actually came into being. Picture 1850 in a little Appalachian town. A young woman just beginning her life as a wife and a soon-to-be mother. That woman birthed over 10 children, and over half of them passed. She channeled those losses for good. She organized, educated, and served all of the Civil War soldiers, regardless of uniform. She continued her work in nurturing by calling for an organizing of all women to take active roles in promoting peace. Her organization was the Mother's Day of Work Clubs, and she called her healing events Mother's Friendship Day. It was when she passed that there was an observance by her daughter, who did not have children or marry, and organized this, her Mother's Day celebration. And so in 1914, President Wilson officially set aside the second Monday of May for what we see as Mother's Day. And now we can see a world transformed by motherly love, where everyone receives enough food, shelter, clothing, protection, and love. And so today, on this day, we honor those who gave birth this year to their first child. We celebrate with you. And we hold tender those of you who lost a child this year. We mourn with you. We marvel of the mothers who are in the trenches with little ones every day. They wear the badge of food stains. We appreciate you. And for those of us who lost our mother this year, we mourn with you. For those who walk the hard path of infertility, we sit with you. For those who have been foster mothers, mentor moms, mother fathers, and spiritual moms, you fill in the spaces with your love. For the mothers who adopt, bless you for your expansiveness. And for those who have warm and close relationships with your children, we celebrate with you. For anyone with disappointment, heartache, and distance from your children or your mother, we sit with you. We acknowledge all experiences, and we see Divine Mother in all. For those of you who lived through driving tests this year, medical tests, and the overall testing of motherhood, we are better for having you in our community. To those who will have emptier nests this year, we rejoice and grieve with you. And to those blesseds who are pregnant with new life, we anticipate with you, especially dear Celia. We see this as a day to extend that ideal of motherly love beyond our family circles, spreading into the world with random acts of motherly kindness so that no one needs feel left out. And we take that sweetness into a moment of silence. On this day, let us choose to honor this living, loving, divine mother nurture within each of us and celebrate the possibilities of this expression within our whole human family. This Mother's Day, we all walk together. there is only one of us.
Oh. Thank you, church ladies. They got their hats on today. Oh, that's a beautiful rendition of Ave Maria. Who did you say that was by, that written by? And what of? Okay. Noah. That's what I will remember, Noah. Yeah, I can't pronounce the rest of those names. Well, welcome. Happy Mother's Day. I acknowledge all the mothers, grandmothers, fathers who played that role as mothers, and all of us who have mothers. I was thinking of, that's everybody. I want to make sure I didn't leave anyone out. I was thinking about a young man who went to a flower shop, and he was going to buy some flowers to have wired, shipped to his mother, who lived about 250 miles away. And so he drove up to the shop and got out the car, started walking toward the door, front door of the shop, and he noticed there was a young girl sitting, on the step, kind of crying and sobbing. And he asked her, well, what's wrong? And she said, I really want to buy 2 red roses for my mother. And they cost like $2 a piece. I only have $1. And he said, well, no problem. Come on in. And he bought the roses for her. And as she began to leave, he said, well, do you want me to give you a ride? And she said, sure. I can take you to my mother. And so they got in the car, and he was driving, and she was giving him directions and directed him to a cemetery. And they got out and walked to a fairly freshly created grave, and that's where she placed the 2 roses for her mother. And there was something that triggered within him, some memories, some lessons that he had learned perhaps from his own mother, some notes that he had received maybe along the way, and he decided to go back to the store, cancel the order, and just drive the 250 miles to go see his mother. Today we're talking about the notes from Divine Mother. It honors the Mother's Day, an event that can be traced, as far as I know, to the spring celebration from ancient Greece that honored Rhea, the mother of the gods. And I know that Mother's Day sometimes is very challenging for some people. Many, in fact, I've talked to them, said they don't like to come to church on Mother's Day because it has experience of, not good thoughts. Maybe they had abandonment issues like myself when my mother disappeared when I was very young in my life. Or maybe they're saying something to the effect, I had a mother or I have a mother, but I don't like her very much. Some people may be saying, in matter of fact, most of my problems can be traced back to the fact I picked the wrong mother. It reminds me of 3 mothers who were boasting about their sons. And the first said, on my birthday last year, my son was so wonderful. He threw me a big party, fancy 5-star restaurant, even paid for 4 plane tickets for my friends. And the second mother, not to be outdone, said, well, it's very nice, but listen to this. Last winter, my son gave me an all-expense-paid trip to the Greek islands, first class, everything. The third one said, well, that's nothing. For 5 years, my son has been paying a psychiatrist $150 an hour for 3 weeks, and the whole time he only talks about me. Now, some people may be saying, that's a description of my life. That other stuff has nothing to do with my particular situation. But know that the Divine Mother presence is everywhere. And it's not limited to a person, it's not limited to a gender, to anyone on the planet. You know, in Genesis, the first chapter in the Hebrew Bible, it reminds us that we're made in the image and likeness of God itself. And the writer in the creation story says that the Spirit of the living God is saying, in essence, that we were made in His image, according to its likeness. Male and female created them. Of course, it's not necessarily interpreted to mean that there's more than one type of God, one male, one female. Rather, this loving presence that we call God, this force, this divine presence, contains two aspects of our being. The masculine aspect of our being, the will, the power, the can-do-ness, as well as the feminine aspect of energy, of intuition and compassion, love and givingness of the heart. And sometimes it's not always balanced within us. It's not always balanced even in our world. But I know that we're heading in that direction, because we can look around and see spiritual movements and teachings that are springing up around the planet. We begin to see spiritual books taking off in the last few years, selling millions of copies, creating $1 billion industry. We see meditators and yoga practitioners, metaphysicians, no longer looked upon as being weird. Well, not as weird as they used to be. They still look slightly with a suspicious eye. But now they're looked upon as being absolutely necessary in our society, in our world. We're not totally there yet, because we're still moving toward the integration of these two energies in order for humanity to birth the next phase of its evolution. An entire new way of being to take place on the planet for wholeness and balance and true freedom to be the natural order of our day. I believe we're in that era right now. We're integrating more and more of these two energies. And it's so critical because we're witnessing some transformational events taking place, not only in our country, but in our world right now. All the upheaval that's taking place. Sometimes, the conflicts that take place. We see in individuals demonizing the so-called other because of culture and religion and where the countries of origin. Maybe they speak a different language. And it comes about partly because we have not balanced the two energies, the masculine and the feminine, because there's often a desire for power over others. The hierarchical ways of living that has not been fully balanced in this new era where we have both of these energies working together. But something is happening. I think the world is crying out toward this new divine wisdom and divine love. And, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore were the co-founders of Unity. I think what makes Unity somewhat unique is that it was founded by a male and a female to bring in two different kinds of energies into it. And they said in their statement of faith in 1921 that I believe that the Holy Mother, the divine feminine, is now being restored to her righteousness in the world, that she will reign equal with Jehovah, the masculine energy, the heavens and the earth. And I think our role as individuals spiritually made in His image and likeness is to come to know that and to live that to the best that we can. And how better way to do that than to celebrate the spirit of the Divine Mother on Mother's Day. We get a lot of lessons from this energy, this presence. It can teach us quite a bit, including how to nurture each other, nurture children. There was a young man named David who had two young kids. Both they were 4 and 7 years old. And he was teaching the 7-year-old how to push a gas lawnmower, a gas-powered lawnmower. And he was teaching him how to turn the lawnmower around and how to edge the end of the lawn. And he got distracted because his wife called him and asked him a question. And as soon as he turned around, his son pushed the lawnmower through a whole bed of fresh flowers they had been working the whole season on, and had about a 2-foot wide gap that was leveled to the ground as a result of that. Needless to say, he was about to lose it. And he was about to, get upset because, the envy of the neighborhood had just been destroyed by his son, and he started to raise his voice, and his wife walked out there, just gently put her hand on his shoulder and said to him, remember, we're raising children, not flowers. Remind him how important it was to his own self-esteem, the child that is is more important than the physical things that were taking place. You know, we break things when we were young. You know, I remember breaking windows with a baseball and knocking over lamps, and, you know, stuff was already broken. I remember one time I was in my mischievous self, and I was playing with matches in the kitchen. Nobody was around at the time. Yes, I know. I threw the matches in, you know, in a garbage can, you know, and it was in there. And I don't know, I didn't know it was that flammable, but like flames blew up, started burning this, it started going moving to the walls. I don't know what they had stuff on the walls back then. It started burning up. Fire trucks had to come, and my mother was upset. And then he said, you know, you're going to have to explain this to your father later on. Now, you don't understand, the time waiting for him to get here is probably more distressing than whatever end result would happen at the end of the day. But what happened, he came in, and he didn't really, raise his voice or do anything like that. He just asked, did I learn anything as a result of this? And the first thing that came to my mind, well, maybe next time I'll have a fire extinguisher. I was thinking that. I didn't say that, of course. But I realized I walked away from that. I mean, he still affirmed who I was and kept my spirits, and he's still high and didn't try to trample upon that spirit. I think that's part of the divine energy of the motherhood that is within all of us. And I think it's always reaching out with unconditional love, holding a vision of possibilities, holding a vision of truth for us. And that happens, it leaves us, in the hands of spirit. I mean, sometimes even as an adult, the quality of the Divine Mother is giving in situations where we might least expect it. There was a young woman who was driving home from work and got into an accident. And she had been in several accidents, and she was driving a brand new car that her mother just loaned her. And she's wondering how she's ever going to explain this to her. And the other driver was very sympathetic, but, we got to exchange driver's license information and insurance and all of that kind of good stuff. And so she reached inside the glove compartment and pulled out a big envelope that had the insurance information in there, and a piece of paper fell out. That was right next to the insurance information. And she picked up the piece of paper and read it, and it said, in case of accident, remember, it's you I love and not the car. And I think that mother reminds us that our spirits are more important than the material things. It helps us remember our true value so it'll blossom and bloom. Like I said, a lot of people might be saying right now, well, I dig what you're saying. It's good that happened to other people. That was not my experience. Maybe you're not describing my experience. As a matter of fact, I may need to send that person, this YouTube link of this today. Like I said, I didn't know my mother. Maybe my people might say I'm adopted. Or as I remember, as an aside, when I was in Ghana years ago, we went to an orphanage of young kids. And they were always saying to themselves, they didn't have any parents. They were adopted. And somewhere along the line, there was someone in there that said, you're not an orphan. You are a child of God. And so before we left, they were all saying, I am not an orphan. I'm a child of God. I'm not an orphan. I'm a child of God. That we always have that presence there for us. You may say it doesn't apply to me, but yes, it does. This divine presence can speak to us directly when we're open to it. And it's telling us, no matter what we're going through, no matter what we're growing through in life, you are my beloved in whom I'm well pleased. There are miracles within you. There's magnificence within you. There's beauty within you. If we listen to that divine voice within our heart, we begin to mother ourselves. We awaken the truth of who we are. And we realize there's nothing lacking in us ever. Nothing has ever been lacking in us, regardless of what our history may have been. no matter what we have done or not done. It is always there for us. So we can stand up and understand that we're surrounded by this presence. It's always seeing a vision of perfection within us, and it's never turning its back on us. Even when we're laden with guilt about what we may have done, mistakes we have made, the missed opportunities that we have, the Divine Mother Present is saying, you are an infinite expression of who I am. I think our charge is always to accept this for ourselves, to accept the qualities of the Divine Mother, the divine ideas of spirit. If we accept them in our awareness, our life can be transformed. It'll be changed. It'll be uplifted. Regardless of what has happened in our history, we're always in our true self, unsullied by any experience in the past. And we can allow ourselves to be nurtured by this divine presence. Sometimes it all takes just one thought that comes from the divine to make a big difference in our life. You know, as I've shared from time to time, and most of you all know that my mother disappeared in my life when I was very young. And it had a very, obviously, strong impact on my own experience, how I saw myself, my own self-concept. When somebody so important disappears, and so for about 25 years, there was a void within me, because when she disappeared, I didn't know whether she was alive or dead or where she was or anything. Yet amidst all that challenge through those years, when I was going through my own healing, I remember one incident that I always talk about on Mother's Day that helped me overcome that sense of void that I thought was within me, the sense of unforgiveness that I thought I had toward her, or what had happened wrong, what was wrong with my life, what was wrong with me. And it came, I think, from the divine presence itself. I'm sure I've heard the story, but many have not. It's one of my favorites. It kind of reminds me how powerful it is when we focus our attention on a spiritual idea. And it was one of those summers that, you know, if you're a kid, you're a little bored, and I was in the backyard and running out of things to do. And on the side of the house, there was this beehive. And, you know, I said, well, you know, I'll just mess with the bees a little bit. I took a stick. I hit the beehive. And bees came running after me. I ran, got away. Can't get me. I came back. You know, I wasn't too bright. I hit the beehive again. They came and ran after me. I got away. Probably singing my own version, Can't Touch This. Of course, I was going to go back a third time, but in between the time I thought about it going back to the third time, the bees decided to have a meeting. They had some sort of conversation going on, because the last time I came back, I raised the stick, and before I could let it down, they came flying out at me, and they were like structured. I mean, I got to say, man, the Blue Angels had nothing on them. Nothing. They came out and they stung me all over my head and my neck and my back. I was looking like one of the creatures in the Star Wars bar scene. I just fit right on in there, and I was in pain. And I ran into the house, and my mother was there, and she grabbed me, and I just remember that she was holding me and caressing my wounds and, you know, just sending that divine loving energy toward me. And as a result of focusing on that, I really forgot about all the other negative feelings I had about feeling a sense of abandoned when I was very young. The unpleasant feelings, the negative experiences. And so whenever I thought about that scene, all of that would seem to disappear. But what I didn't tell you about that is the rest of the story. Because I mentioned I had not seen her for over 25 years or so. And as I mentioned once before, that I didn't know the whole story. I just made up a story in my mind as to what happened. And as I mentioned, that no matter how thin the pancake, there are always two sides. And spiritually, there's always a third side, but that's a conversation separate and apart from all of that. But anyway, when I was going through my most challenging part of my life, my lowest part of my life, I suddenly got a call out of the blue after all of those years. And then to make a long story short, somehow she had tracked us down, myself and my sister. And of course, I didn't really want to deal with her at that time because my life was like in a mess. So that's the last thing I wanted to do, but she was persistent. She came down and visited me with 3 of her daughters, who are now my sisters. I didn't know anything about at all. And then she has 2 other sons, so I got this whole other part of sisters and brothers I didn't know about. And so after a while, we got to know one another very well. And got to know family members I didn't know I had. And behind all of that, it was because I think there was something within her that says there was still that instinct to know who we are, where we were, and to find us regardless of what was serving as an obstacle along the way. I think it was a divine expression of something within her. You know, in the United States, Mother's Day, among other things, was reinforced in 1872. And it was something done by Julia Ward Howe. And she was the writer of the words of the Battle Hymn of the Republic. And it began as a day dedicated to peace for what the movement that she started. Ms. Howe had organized a Mother's Day meeting in Boston. And that meeting was going to take place every year after that. Because many people had died in the Civil War. She wanted to bring a sense of compassion, a different energy to the future than what had taken place that led to so many people dying in war. And so she wrote some words that I'd like to read to you. And if you don't mind, you could just close your eyes and take in the energy of what she was expressing through these words. And if you want, you can even hold the hand of the person next to you, but just listen to these words. They inaugurated an aspect of Mother's Day in this country. And feel the divine coming through and talking about a quality of God. And she wrote, "Arise, women of this day. Arise, all women who have hearts, whether our baptism be of water or of spheres. Say we will not have the great questions decided by irrelevant agencies. Our husbands shall not come to us reeking of carnage for caress and applause. Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we have been able to teach them of charity, of mercy, of patience. We, the women of this country, shall be too tender of those of another country to allow our sons to be trained to injure theirs. From the bosom of the devastated earth, our voice goes out. It says, disarm, disarm. The sword of murder is not the balance of justice. Blood does not wipe our dishonor, nor violence indicate possession. As men have often forsaken the plow and anvil at the summons of war, let women now leave all that may be left of home for a great and earnest day of council. Let them meet first as women to be well and commemorate the dead. And now let them solemnly take counsel with each other as the means whereby the great human family can live in peace, and bearing after their own the sacred impress, not of Caesar, but of God. In the name of womanhood, in the name of motherhood, in the name of all humanity, we ask that the General Council of Women without limit or nationality be appointed and held at some place deemed most convenient and at the earliest period, consistent with its objects, to promote the alliance of different nationalities, the amicable settlement of international questions, and the great and general interest of peace. That's what she wrote in 1872, and I believe out of a broken heart and out of compassion, she birthed an aspect of Mother's Day. I think today we're feeling and sensing our connection with the divine presence in our own soul. We do not let the world of effects and affairs have the final word about life. We do not succumb to the fear and the doubt and the worry and make decisions from a reactionary ego state of mind. But we let people where they are, but we meet people where they are and treat them as though they were where they should be. I believe that's how the divine presence sees us. And we too can allow the love and the compassion and the givingness of the mother presence to so flow through us that we're able to say, as the master teacher said, that the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of love is at hand and now. And we can carry it with us everywhere that we go. Let us live in that expanded space as we celebrate the divine mother within us, as we honor the divine presence that's here for each and every one of us. We move from where we are to where we truly are in the mind and the heart of the divine. And this is the way that we celebrate Mother's Day. Peace and blessings to you. Peace and blessings. Just a reminder that next week we're going to talk about taking the limit off of God and what that means to us. In the meantime, I invite you to take your gift, your love offering, and symbolically raise it to the heavens. If you're already given, know that you're in the flow of a principle that is unchangeable, that says that whatever we give out begins to come back to us, to support not only this community, but the larger community at hand, so that we can make a difference and help transform our world in our own way. So with that awareness, as you are preparing to get into that flow that says we can never outgive this presence, let us say our offertory blessing together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
It's the goddess in us. bless each day. It's the goddess in us. So we say namaste to the sacred mother. Our ancestors did pray. It's the goddess in us. We bless each day. We give thanks to a new way of seeing. We give thanks to a new life made free. All that is untruthful, I banish from my heart. All the unessential, I take away or break apart. All that would enslave me, I cast out of my soul. Hold me as you heal me now, and keep my spirit whole. It's the goddess in us that we bless each day. It's the goddess in us. So we say namaste to the ancient mother. Our ancestors did pray. It's the goddess in us. We bless each
All righty then. Thank you again, once again. And we bless the tithes, offerings, knowing it's going to bless the givers, receivers, this community, and beyond. For we're all interconnected on a spiritual level, a soul level, and whatever we give out, good energy, and it lifts everybody up, and it comes back to us. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. Let us join together and sing our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And now let us join in and deepen that awareness as we say together our prayer for protection.